So
Yeah.
22 years ago, I get off the plane for a management workshop in Frankfurt, Germany, and it's 2 weeks before Christmas. And we drive to the hotel. We got there early in the morning, drive to the hotel, and I go down into the hotel dining room to have breakfast. And there, on little cards on the table, like you normally see in a restaurant, it says "Celebrate Sylvester." I went, okay, I'll do that. I'll celebrate Sylvester. But I was like, but it's SILV. And I was like, okay, there's something weird here because I started paying attention to it. I was joking to myself, but everywhere I went in Frankfurt, everywhere we went, there's all these signs: get your Sylvester tickets. Don't miss Sylvester. Sylvester is going to be great. And little did I know that Sylvester is what they call New Year's Eve. They don't celebrate New Year's Eve. They celebrate Sylvester. And he was a pope in the 350 BC. And I knew, because I was raised Catholic, that Saint Sylvester's feast day, because saints have feast days, was always December 31st. And he was always portrayed as the Pope with the old beard. So Father Time, who we've heard about, bringing in the new year, is Pope Sylvester, right? And I've carried that with me. I love heritage. I love names. I love the meaning of names. And I thought, we're doing a show on the 31st. I'm going to tell you that story about Sylvester. Good morning, Mr. Freeman. I'm Mark Sylvester. We are the Elder
Good
Council
morning,
today.
sir.
We're live, and we have a bunch of guys with us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I did get, just so everyone knows, that Saint Sylvester sent me a little picture of himself. So his name for today is Saint Sly. So we're changing it from Mark Sylvester to Saint Sly just for a little bit.
That was my nickname in high school, Sly.
Sly?
Oh yeah.
It fits you perfectly.
Yeah, I think it
In
does.
the best of ways.
I think so. So happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. And I love it when it falls on a Saturday like this, and I have extra nothing to do after this show. So I'm actually going to take 2 days off. I hope people take some time off and from our busy, crazy schedules to just to relax and be with family, or just be with yourself. Just do nothing. Someone asked me what my definition of retired was, and I said it's not having to return email. So maybe if you can, for the next 48 hours, don't return anybody's email. They'll live.
That must mean I've been retired for about 40 years.
I'm going to teach you how to do email one of these days.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's
right.
No, I promise I won't do that. So in the spirit of these lives, this is our second one. I'm thrilled that we get to do this. We just take questions. So you can either type your question in the chat, or use the emoji, the reaction emoji, to raise your hand, or however you want to do it. Mike, you were first. You don't have to be told twice. What do you got for us, Mike?
Good morning, gentlemen. I sent you guys a message for everybody else. What I wanted to know is, because it's hit home for me a little bit, is I see it when I hear emotionally unavailable for guys, or emotionally unavailable. I hear,
I remember that message. Yeah.
I hear emotionally protective. And so my question, I kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Like, when someone tells you you're unavailable, and more so, how do you know when you've hit your limit? Like, oh, I'm really open to this person, or I still have more room to go, to let someone in deeper, because you have to trust yourself to trust someone else. So,
hey Doc, you want to start?
Well, say a little bit more about what you mean by emotionally unavailable or cut off. Say that term again, because I did read your piece on the Mighty Networks.
So it's the emotionally unavailable in the sense of cold or numb, and doing this work, I've opened that door more and more and more. That being said, I've heard it when when the teens, like the parents talk about the teens, they're like, oh, he just shuts down from us and that kind of stuff. And so I thought what if it's like emotionally protective, not unavailable? Like he's hit his pain quota and he's done. And then how do I guide myself so I can show others that like you can go deeper? Like when you hit that, you can go deeper.
Well, let me start with two possibilities. One is that you're right. There's a choice around being protective at times that we choose and we shut down. There's another, and this is dependent on what people have experienced in their lives. There's a trauma response where we shut down. That is not necessarily a choice. It's actually a neurological reaction to a particular situation. And so both ways can be protective. And if we really choose to shut down, we do that out of protection. Sometimes. And also if we shut down from a neurological kind of place where it's a trauma response, that's also protection. And I guess like the third part, that sometimes people shut down to be manipulative. So that's the big piece that we need to, that's the first question I ask people is, what do you know what's happening that's creating the piece of shutting down? If it's manipulative, people have a choice about it. Sometimes we make a choice about, this isn't a situation that I want to be in, so I'm not going to give all of who I am or what I have to give. The third part is probably the, how do I want to say it, a deeper kind of a shutdown, to where it's actually not a cognitive choice. So if that's happening, what we need to do is figure out what's behind that. Sometimes we shut down. I'm going to get into a little geekiness here.
Please, I can't wait.
I can't wait. We have a part of our neurological system is called neuroception. When we go into that place, it's happening in our body. We're picking up messages in our body. It does not go through our brain. It comes from our body and goes to our brain, not our brain to our body. It's like if you walk into a room and go, everything looks great, and you walk in and your gut goes, whoa, this is not like a good place for me to be. And you can't really explain it, but you know that it's not a good place for you to be. That's part of what's happening. Or you can walk into a room and it can be all messy and et cetera, and you go, that's also a part of our neuroceptive system. That's a part of the system that protects us. And so that's sort of one little piece to look at, and to actually try and be aware of what, if that's really happening. Because if that's happening, then we have to approach it differently than if it's by choice. Let me throw in one other piece, because probably most of you have heard of the parasympathetic sympathetic system. Like, I know that gets talked about. There's another level of that Steve Porges, who talks about this a lot in polyvagal theory, where it's like parasympathetic is rest, relax, related. It's called our social engagement system. Sympathetic is fight or flight. And then there's another level that's faint, freeze, sleep, or fall asleep. And it's that level that we go to at times, where it's like, I'm just, or dissociate. That's the heavy duty shutting down, where it's like, I just can't be here, even though I'm here physically. A lot of times when we go into that part, we're protecting ourselves, but it's not from what's going on in the present. Something in the present is triggering something older that we need to look at.
So Mike, which of those three are you, now that we've gotten a great description of those, which one of those was hitting you in terms of wanting to understand more? How do you deal with it?
I mean, the energetic, well, so 2 out of 3 so 2 out of 3 hit home the most. I mean, I've done the shutdown to manipulate in the past,
Mhm.
although I will say that the other 2 now hit home the most of like, I don't know, like it's going to take a lot more self-inquiry to differentiate between the 2 on each individual basis of like, okay, is it my gut telling me like, oh, energetics, time to leave? Or is it like me making the choice out of a fear base, like shut down so I don't have to, be vulnerable in that position. So like I would say those 2 hit home the most as things to work on.
Yeah, and the piece of it, your gut, it's like you don't even know it's gonna, when that happens, you don't even know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like you walk into a room and it's like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? It's like I don't want, you can feel it in your body. Versus going, yeah, this is like, a business lunch that I'm not really keen on going to, and I'll be nice, but I'm not going to give too much. That kind of a gig.
Let me add it. Let me add a taste to that, because what I was getting from number 3 was, you might call it giving someone the silent treatment, right? And it was, I'm going to be so unavailable, I will not speak. And I, having not heard that described until just today, now 69 years later in my life, I did that up until 20 years ago. A lot. I did that a lot. Didn't, and not, and probably on purpose and not consciously on purpose. I was unconsciously competent at doing that. But Kimberly would not allow that. That was just not acceptable behavior. Like I didn't get to shut out. I didn't get to shut her out. So there was an external force on me that caused that behavior change. And it probably took, maybe a year. And I don't do that at all anymore. And I see that, and I really recognize that for what it is. I wish I had been able to have had someone kind of not beat it out of me, but force me to confront it. That's what it was. Force me to confront it.
You would have sent you into the
into the number 1. So does that help, Mike?
Yeah, a lot actually.
Perfect. We're looking for another question.
Yeah, can I do one more little wrap up?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mike, part of your process is learning to be in your body and trust your body.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, men in particular, but particularly in this society, we go head, heart, pelvis. And this is a little different than when Traver talks about head, heart, and balls, although it's very similar. But our pelvic floor is the foundation of where energy comes from and moves through us. So part of our learning is to come from our pelvis, heart to head instead of head, heart, pelvis. So instead of going from the top down, where the learning and the work is from the bottom up, because then we're coming from our foundation up. So start allowing yourself to feel in your gut, in your pelvis, pelvic area, your pelvic floor. And a way that you can do that right now is to relax your butt. And if you do that, if everyone here just relaxes your ass and sink in, what you'll feel like you're sitting in your chair with a lot more weight than you did before that. And that's where to start.
I love that. Thanks, Mike. Who's got it? I'm looking for a hand up. Someone got a hand up. I'm looking. You see a hand up?
I dare you.
There we go. Okay, Will, you're on deck.
Yeah, I'll take that, dear.
All right, right on.
What you got, sir?
I'm trying to work through some pretty serious attachment issues that I have um, in terms of um, just trying to, like back months ago, Dewey, you bestowed some incredible knowledge on those of us that were at the initiation around attachment theory, which really like hit home for me. Like, man, that's like the core of my shit right there. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
and I've been doing a lot of work on that, and I've gotten to a place where I feel like I should be able to separate myself from material and other types of attachments that I have in my life, um, and I feel like I should be able to make that leap and sever the ties and like the emotions that I have related to those attachments. And I'm just struggling. I feel like okay, now I have the key to unlock the cage, but I don't know whether it's just, by force of habit that I've become, associated with the things around me and the things that I do. And I'm struggling to like make that breakage, but I'd love any insight that you have in terms of, once we've identified where the source of the problem is, how do we take action and try to, um, yeah, try to, separate from attachments that we've carried for me for decades. Um,
What do you attach to? When
uh,
you,
Attached to smoking weed.
mm,
I'm attached to material objects, whether that's a collection of books, a collection of music, um, you know, things that are external to me that yes, in some ways bring me joy, but I know my excess and how I approach those things um, is not healthy. And
right,
how
right,
do I
right.
get myself calibrated to actually enjoying those things if I decide that I want to continue with them, or how do I sever relationships with them entirely?
Right on. You want to jump on that at all, Mark? Or you want me to jump on it?
Um, uh, you've got the 80,000 hours of doing this and talking to guys like this, but I had three things that come to mind, and then you can back clean up. How's that, Doc?
No, do
Um,
it. Yes, and.
you said should 4 times. So I'd love it if you just stop saying should, because should just lose that word. Um, just either do it or don't do it. Don't should it. That'd be the first quick one. Um, I have a similar issue, very similar issue. I attach to stuff. What has worked for me, it was smoking, drinking, smoking pot. Um, in all three of those cases, there was a compelling event that was you could, whatever you want to say, there was some compelling event that got my attention. The universe got my attention. And I found in my life, I need to have a hard out on that thing. So I remember in 1991, I took the cigarettes and I threw them in the trash. Have not had a cigarette since. In 15 years ago, pot, just like there was an incident and it was like, but you're done, I'm out. Same with drinking, put the bottle down and I am hard out, because I know I have we could say attachment and addiction similar, right? I've got that issue, so that can happen to me, and I'm fully cognitive of that. So I found just hard out, but that's me. I can't do the slowly try it. Fuck that. I'm out. And then the last thing you said, you were looking for the key to unlock that. And Dewey, if this is appropriate, you talked about the key to these issues was under a pillow or on a pillow in a show recently. And I think that is what you were talking about. And so there you go, Doc. All you.
Well, I was talking about Iron John, and in Iron John, the key is under the mother's pillow that we have to go get some way, somehow. If I go that route, that's a longer story. So let me sort of bring it in a little bit. First, the fact that you're looking at this is a really big deal. So that's the first step. Your awareness, and then the fact that you're looking at this and working with it. number one. Number two is when we get attached to objects or weed or alcohol or porn, all of those things, interestingly enough, are about trust. Because if I say drink, if I come home from work and I drink, I do a 6-pack when I get home, which I don't. This is purely an example. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's predictable. It's trustworthy. It's like, you know, if I do if I do an edible, or if I do, you know, smoke a joint, or even if I look at porn, I know what's going to happen. I don't have to think about anything on a level of trust. If for instance, if I do porn, it's like, oh, yep, okay, I got 15 minutes and this will happen. And that's a whole different gig than if I go to the woman I'm with, who is Kimberly, and have a whole interaction about being intimate. Those are two different things. So the core that you're really talking about is trust. It's like, because again, trust and predictability, et cetera, et cetera. The key to that is the beginning of you trusting yourself. And I know that's a bit cliche, but here's what I mean by that. Trusting ourselves to me means that I know that I'll be able to do what I need to do when I need to do it. Whatever the fuck that is. Like our well went out over Thanksgiving, and it was out 10 days. And on Thanksgiving Day, I'm down in a 10-foot hole digging out where the line got severed. But it's like, I know that I could do what I needed to do when I need to do it. If I'm giving up weed, for instance, or I'm giving up alcohol, which I actually did completely last January 23rd. So in 24-ish days will be the first year, will be the year of not using either of those. And it's like, can I trust myself to go through what I need to go through when I'm sitting there going, God, I would love a shot of tequila. You know, can I trust myself to do what I need to do when I need to do it? Same thing. And then that gets moved into to relationship. Like, can I trust, like, for instance, Mark and I, we have a multi-level relationship. And it's like, can I trust Mark to respond? And let's say that Mark doesn't respond exactly how I want, which normally he does, but purely an example. But it's like, can I trust myself to do what I need to do when I need to do that? And I say, hey, Mark, I needed this, not this, or I mean, are you following me? So this has, right now in your life, it has more to do with you trusting yourself. It also, let me throw one more piece in, because this is sort of the other side of what Mike was talking about, is can we allow ourselves to be vulnerable? Because that's actually the key to attachment, is can I allow myself to be vulnerable with somebody else? Which, interestingly enough, is probably the most courageous thing we can do. When we're vulnerable, it takes an incredible amount of courage. But then that courage is backed up by the belief that, well, if I'm vulnerable and it doesn't work out, can I do what I need to do to handle that? So we're really talking about trust and vulnerability. Now, here's a gig that I want to give to you. You look like, what, you're 30 something?
Thank you so much. I'm 55.
Okay, so you're a 55-year-old man who looks 35.
Yeah.
You've had 55 years of practice at doing something besides trusting yourself, being vulnerable, and being attached. You've had 55 years of practice at that. I think that you said it was a few months ago that you started shifting this around.
Yeah, it was August.
At the initiation.
Yeah, it was
okay.
August.
So
I'm a late bloomer.
So what is that? 4 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the gig, just to give yourself some grace. For us to truly change something that we have been in for X number of years, it takes about a month for every year to really turn something around. I mean, to fully turn something around. So you have about 51 months to go, because you've been at it about 4. And it doesn't mean that that you're not going to make tremendous progress during that time, but what it means is, like, give yourself some grace, because part of not trusting yourself is not giving yourself time.
Mm. Yeah.
Does that make
This
sense?
Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
a
bet.
good time to remind us of something we learned in acting. You have time.
Yeah, exactly.
In anything we do this is around our house. It's religion, because our foot's on the gas all the time.
Yeah.
Take foot off the gas. You have time. In martial arts, what do they teach us? Do we go slow to go fast?
Go slow to go fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Go slow to go fast. So that month every year means that on your 60th birthday, Will, I want you to send me a note, mark@marksylvester.com. And the gift you're going to give yourself is you're going to just feel super awesome. Will you do that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect.
And
yes, sir.
No,
You're going to
I
add
have
a
to
little
do
bit
a
more.
yes and.
I'm going to do it.
I cannot tell you how many times Mark and I have spoken over the last, I don't know, couple of ish years, where I'm going, okay, so much is happening. The well's out with the snow, the horses, the this, the that. Mark goes, hey, Dewey, you have time. And that's like, I don't need somebody to go, well, if you do this with your horse, and if you do that with the well, and I got that shit covered. It's like, you have time, dude, and your whole system will drop and relax. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Who's
That's a great question.
next? Hey, Ryan, I saw your little shout out. Good to see you, buddy. Oh, come on. You're going to make me
Another
edit out
question?
this little pause. I'm just going to jump on this. I want to see a hand. Is this what it's like in the initiations, Dewey? Everybody's like all
this
quiet.
is actually what they're quiet, and then we pick somebody.
Oh, you mean I get to pick somebody?
Yeah, pick somebody.
All right. You know who's been smiling a lot is Brad. I've not met Brad. Brad, I'm spotlighting you, dude. So there you go. There you go. How are you, brother?
Have you not met Brad?
I've not met Brad. No.
We've never met
I'm
Mark.
coming.
Good to meet you.
I'm coming out in Austin, so I'll get to meet a lot of the guys in person. So
Nice to meet you. I'm in Denver.
there you go. What's going on, Brad?
Oh, let's see. I think I'm coming to this meeting this morning trying to wrap my head around age. Like I'm about to be 53 exactly.
You're a pup.
I'm looking
are
at
a
the
pup.
color to my beard I added last night, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I actually, you got on, and I was going, is that the Brad I know?
I just dyed this thing. I'm looking at it this morning. Like,
Hey, if you want to take 10 years off, Brad, if you want to take 10 years off your life, shave your beard.
Shave my beard. Well,
Yeah, shave your beard.
I'm getting some good compliments on it.
Yeah.
But look, I've really been leaning. I've named this year the year of the middle-aged Jedi.
Okay.
And what I'm wrestling with is both coming to terms with being middle-aged at this point, and also leaning into my skills as a magician archetype. You know, I'm a 25-year veteran lawyer. And honestly, that is one of the big things I've been struggling with now is I'm in a career and profession where I'm bored to fucking tears.
Hmm.
You know, I'm really fucking good at it. I can do this shit in my sleep. I don't even have to advertise anymore because people just constantly come to me and all the things, and I help people a lot. And you know, it's a skill set where I can do enormous good for people, and that's the way I try to apply the skill. But it is not my life's calling anymore. And you know, I'm waking up at 50 years old and thinking, am I going to do this for another 20 years? You know, is this really what I'm going to do? And you know, how much more time do I have to throw at this? And you know, it's as a profession, it's there's not a lot of challenge in it anymore. You know, the shine is worn off quite a bit. You know, when I was a young man and was really full of, you know, spit coming bigger, you know, it was really sexy. It was really great. I was a really good litigator. And I did a lot of good for the world. You know, I took on some really top cases and did all the things. I was a law professor for a long time, and then got bored with that. You know, now I kind of like pick and choose who I want to help and want to serve. But you know, at the end of the day, there's nothing there that really feeds my soul. You know, I find it really boring, and you know, kind of add to that, Mark, and Dewey knows this. You know, I came out of a really rough and tumble 3-year divorce, which was knocked me upside the head and was a real wake-up call for me. And I've ended up much better for it, I have to say. You know, I feel like at the end of the day, you know, I walked away from the experience more of a phoenix than a funeral pyre. So, you know, that was a blessing in disguise. At least that's how I'm treating it at this point, looking back in retrospect. So that part of my life is really good. And, you know, I have a tremendous amount of stability and a fantastic partner and great relationship with my kid. But my career, like, I'm so fucking bored. You know, like, there's nothing there that is really feeding my soul. And I'm not sure how to get out of this trap because I'm constantly falling back into, you know, this thing which now after 25 years comes really naturally to me, you know, and I'm always, people are always approaching me saying, Brad, can you do this, can you do that? And it's easy for me. It's an easy way for me to make money too, right? Because I'm so good at it. So
Do you have
So
enough
just-
money that you could take a year off?
I don't, because I'm coming out of a divorce. So
Could you
yeah,
take 90 days off?
yeah, I could.
Okay.
That would be doable. Like a sabbatical.
So someone told me once, he said, Mark, you are not your job.
Mhm.
Are you your job?
No, not at all. I don't even wear it. I used to, in the old days, wear the profession on my sleeve. You know, I used to go around saying, hey, I'm a lawyer. You know, like, this is what I do. I'd start to introduce myself by saying,
Okay, good.
Hey,
So
look at
we don't
me.
have to worry about that.
and
So
that part of it is gone.
a sabbatical, you've earned a sabbatical, number one.
Mhm.
You've earned a break. And think about, spend this long weekend thinking about what you're going to do on your sabbatical. What are the things you've always wanted to do? Not work related, not career related, not, this is all around professional development in terms of stimulation and re-energizing, and to look at Da Vinci's seek of curitas, of curiosity. What are you curious about? Follow your curiosity. And at the end of this week, at the end of this weekend, decide what it would take to actually take a sabbatical. You can't just, you know, pull all the plugs. Maybe you could, but you probably can't. You have obligations, and give yourself the gift. You're 55, you've earned it. Take a 90-day sabbatical and follow your curiosity. and with no, and be as present as you can in that, and put yourself in situations that are completely new and curious. Like if you've always wanted to go to the Tate Museum in London, go to the Tate. If you've always wanted to go to the food halls in Budapest, go there. Just follow your curiosity. You're not doing it for anything other than enriching yourself. And then I think once you've kind of cleared the deck of all this stuff that's in your rear view, let the universe, be open to the universe either putting people in your path that you meet along the way, or you'll see something. Just follow your curiosity. It's like, that's why I asked, could you take 90 days off and be okay, and not, because you got to be responsible, right? I would love to do that. I had a sabbatical and I called it a scoobatical, because one of the guys at work, he said, "What are you doing?" I says, "I still haven't figured out. I could go on a movie." There was a bunch of things I wanted to do. And he told me that he had been out the islands out here at Anacapa Island diving at 90 feet below, and the sea lion, he was playing with the sea lions on this. And I was like, man, I'd like to do that. We never thought about that in my entire life. And here the universe put that thing in my life, and 90 dives later and certifications and all of that, that was a huge part of my life. So maybe that's what it is. Don't think about what the career is. You're getting ready to start act 3. Take a break, figure out what it might be, and don't have no preconceptions of what it is or what it could be. You are prepared to do. You're smart. You've already laid out all the stuff you could do. You could do anything you want to do. You just don't know what that is yet. So give yourself some room. Doc?
Yeah, actually, just out of curiosity, then I do want to add something. How did that hit you, Brad, what Mark was saying?
It landed really well. The other thing I'm dealing with is that I have about to be 10-year-old daughter who is an integral part of my life.
You bet.
So, my commitment to her and stepping into it, it poses some challenges for me. Like, I have a court-ordered parenting schedule that is 50-50 custody. So, while I would love to go, disappear for 3 months, is that going to be a reality for me? Well, I would love to go disappear for a year when I have the resources to do it. Is that really going to be a reality for me? Because I have this relationship with my daughter that I'm fully committed to, and just spent the last 3 years of my life, litigating
Fighting
so I
for
could have that relationship.
Yep.
It was a decision, conscious decision I had to make, to either say, do I want her in my life? And if so, I'm going to fight for it, or do I just let this go and just let the chips fall? And I chose the fight, and that was worth it.
So with that, and let me just preface this, like, one, I know Brad fairly well. I know you fairly well because we spent some time together. You're an incredibly good man.
Thank you.
Like, incredibly good man. The part of what and this part I don't know, so this is truly a question, not there, I don't know the answer to it, is how much of this fight, because this fight that you've gone through the last 3 years has been over the top. It's been more crazy than 99% of the divorces that I know about, and without any details, but it's been like over the fucking top and completely unfair to you. How much of that fight around all of the legal stuff has colored or tainted your perspective at this point of the law?
Oh, it's fully colored it. Like divorce lawyers are the used car salesmen industry. It's
I know.
There's no integrity. It's like,
Exactly.
and it's vengeful. It's like you take somebody at their worst moment and you exploit the shit out of them. It's, if you look at like the magician archetype, the manipulator is one of the dark sides of the magician archetype. Well, you know, it's that times 100 for divorce attorneys, right? They just
Well,
get in,
yeah,
they find somebody who they think has been victimized, and they just exploit the shit out of them. And it's like, wow, and to have to deal with that, it's just completely difficult. And I've lost respect for the profession. I'm just like,
yeah.
Sure.
like,
Well, and
This is
that's
awesome.
my question, and what you just answered it's like I know your level of integrity. I know and I know that from numbers of different perspectives. And it's like doing the law thing where there's no integrity. So what I wonder about is it boredom, or is it loss and grief around the profession that you're in, or is it a level of I don't know, anger? I don't know if anger is the right word, but maybe even hurt. And again, I'm guessing. I all of the stuff I'm asking you, they're pure questions. I'm not telling you that I know what you feel, because I don't exactly.
it could be a combination of those things too, you know, after having done this for 25 years, and also having gone through it as a, you know, a party at this point. That was one of the things I'd never done as a lawyer, is actually been a party to a lawsuit. So being a party to a lawsuit was a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And it was extraordinarily challenging, you know, all the way around. Yeah, you know, there is a lot of boredom at this point. Although if you looked at my life, like, you know, my partner, who you know really well, really looks at my life, she's like, boy, you know, the shit you're working on is super sexy, Brad. You know, how in the hell could you be bored? You know, recently, Mark, you know, we passed Proposition 122 and legalized psychedelics in Colorado. You know, I just happened to be you know, at the forefront of this with my career, and I've had a really great relationship working with Michael Polling and all of that stuff. And so it was a natural entry point to get involved in that industry. And my phone's been ringing off the hook. And I'm just like, I don't really give a shit. You know, kind of like, I should be excited when in fact I'm feeling like, you know, I'm really kind of tired of this. You know, I'm tired of being, and I'm not sure where all that's coming from. It's a struggle for me, you know.
Sure.
And other parts of my life are really firing on all cylinders. Like, I'm super healthy. I've got taken up martial arts, and I'm really pushing hard. I have a great relationship with my partner. I've got a great relationship. It's other parts of my life are really moving, but my career, I just feel like, in my choice of profession, I'm just feeling like this huge emptiness. And it's something I spend, you know, 40 hours a week at.
Right.
It's like this big old hole in my life. And it's a challenge for me. And yeah, I completely agree with Mark that if I had, maybe I just make it happen, you know, in a shorter window. You know,
Let me ask a
so I have
question,
that.
Brad.
Sure.
In the custody thing, it's 50-50, but how does it work? Week on, week off, or every other day, or every 2 days, or what?
Yeah, 5-2-2-5. So I have a guaranteed 2 days a week. So 2 days on, you know, 5 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. So 5-2-2-5. So I have it every Wednesday and Thursday guaranteed, and then every other weekend.
Got it.
Which I love, and it's, you know,
that's working out. I was one of 6 single fathers 45 years ago who won their cases, which was very rare 45 years ago for the man to win. So I totally get all of that stuff, and figuring out what you want to do. You can do that sabbatical and not go anywhere. You don't have to go anyplace. Go to a library, go out in nature, go for walks, go on a sojourn, go a walkabout. Do it with your daughter, though. I would say she's probably goes to school, not homeschooled. So yep. So I would use this as an opportunity to get really, really connected to her even more so. Like this is just take the time to get, but more importantly, to get connected to yourself. I love it when other people tell us how great our lives are. Yet when we lay in bed, we're going, fuck. Like it's so
Exactly.
right. I don't, yeah, okay, great. It looks great on the outside. I'm very good at that.
You
I'm
think my
particularly
life is great.
very good at that. But you, I think finding a way, whatever it is, I like martial arts a lot. Go train, just go do something that's not being a lawyer for a month in whatever that looks like. Go Dewey's house and ride horses. Go do stuff for you that gives you around our house we call it white space. So it's time where you're not working. It's block time, not just 20 minutes, but it's block time where you're not working. And if you can do it for a month and involve your daughter in it, go on adventures with your daughter, go on hikes, get out in nature, get outside, go do stuff. Treat it as just a time where you're just going to take time off from lawyering and take a break. Dude, you've been in a fight for 3 years.
Oh, yeah. And it was hellish. And, you know, my
Before
partner-
that, and before that, right?
Even before that, right? Yeah.
Right.
You know, I was in an abusive relationship. It was just, they had all the check all, you know, if you're looking at the box for fucked up dysfunctional relationships. It was,
Yeah.
So to
so
Dewey's
sad.
point of it taking a month to recover for some of these things, how many months? So give yourself some time, but I would start by
Yeah.
taking some white space. Anything else,
That's-
Dewey?
No,
Yeah.
I totally get it. And yeah, I like your suggestion. I'm also, you know, I'm also up for connecting with you personally and over lunch and just catching up.
Absolutely. I started texting you this morning too,
Oh, did you? Okay.
and I jumped at this call.
Right on. Perfect. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's make that.
One of the things that we'll leave it at this is make a list of the most fun memories you could give your daughter in the next month. And make it about her, make it about being a dad. And just lean into being a dad and what that looks like. And like this month will be a month it's a perfect time. It's a month she'll never forget. And use it to be curious. Teach her curiosity. Teach her to be curious. And go do that. And the two of you have that adventure. It'll mean the world to the both of you. I know that for sure. Okay, thanks, Brad.
Perfect. Thanks, gentlemen.
We have time for one more.
Yeah,
Do we?
I'm good on time.
Cool.
I have nothing planned after this other than
You
watering the horses and
have
cleaning up bullshit
time.
and horse shit.
I got to work on a New Year's menu. So I can't wait. Who's up next? Do we get to pick on someone or is we got a hand raised?
What do you got? We got Zach.
We see a
But
hand
someone that
raised.
hasn't spoken.
I just showed up.
Who's this?
Someone is being quiet. We're going to be picking who your pick, Dewey.
My pick. What about you, Chris? What's going on in your life?
I got to find Chris. There's Chris. This Chris right here.
Yeah, there's no last
Yeah.
name on it.
Looks like, yeah, it's Chris Hansen. Hey, guys.
Hi, Chris.
I joined late, had some technical issues and have a cold. So I'm here though. So I'm not entirely sure where we're at and what questions we're asking. I think I'm hearing something about how this next year is looking or what we're.
It could
looking
be
to do. Is that correct?
whatever's on your heart, dude.
Yeah, it's ask us anything.
It's an
or speak
AMA.
about any AMA. Yeah, we're all good.
I don't know. I have a specific question today. I mean, I have some of the same kind of some of the same thoughts Brad did about job wise, but I'm working through those and have some plans this next year to look into some different things to kind of get out of that boredom of my job. So that's you know, action I'm taking. I mean,
What'd you
overall,
name your
just
year,
trying to-
Chris?
I don't know that I have a specific name yet, but I kind of posted this I did post it in the men's in our group, the nation group, that I kind of just walked a path in a random thought during work, and just you know, you guys have heard of the GOAT, the greatest of all time, you know, in 2023, and I kind of followed the path of the 2023 to 23 to Michael Jordan to the GOAT, or arguably the GOAT, and just, you know, I'm trying to be, and you know, humbly there for my family, and just continue to be the greatest that I can be, you know, with everything. And I mean, I guess I have a more positive thought to add to that, or realization that sometimes that yesterday was my 52nd birthday, and this is not a question. I'm just sharing. And is that okay?
Happy birthday. Of
Sure.
course it is.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, dude.
I appreciate it. And that a few of you guys know, as part of the initiation group, I've got a blended family, got 5 kids. Some of them are older, and as we continue to do work, and I didn't really want to celebrate my birthday yesterday. It's just not that big a deal for me. And I ended up getting together with family, and I have a stepson who's 27 years old. We butted heads tons and tons and tons of times. And I guess I'm saying this for reasons of encouragement. I was going to post it in the group, but I'll just share it now if that's cool. But he showed up, and he kind of was sending me these sarcastic text messages that, you know, we're going to fucking celebrate your birthday, old man. And he's not usually like, his sense of humor is funny, but he's like, I don't care what you think, we're celebrating you, blah, blah. And we kind of bantered back and forth, and showed up to pick him up yesterday to go to dinner, and he dropped a card. And I don't get cards from my kids very often. We don't get cards from our kids very often. It's kind of a, you know, it'd be nice to hear back how our kids are doing and what they want to share, and just, you know, kind of give us some indicators that are things okay. So I got this card from my son yesterday, and he said, "You grew up so fast. Thank you for being the man that you are, for the family, your kids, and my mom. You are the father figure in my life, and as much as we can butt heads, little people hold the amount of respect I have for you. You're not my stepdad. You're the dad that stepped up. Happy fucking birthday." And I'm the only one that calls him D. His name is Dakota. I'm the only one in our entire, and he signed it D, which I mean, that's just kind of our thing. But I want to, it just hit me yesterday, because I kind of flounder and get frustrated in all this crap that we feel like we're trying to do, and if it matters, and he's got a, you know, a dad that's literally, you know, 20 minutes from him that's not involved, and he hates going over there and spending time with him, and frustrated, and with all that. But I just want to say that all the work that we're doing or trying to do, or feel like we're not making progress, don't know where to look, and Brad, and in the case of your daughter, all this shit matters, man. And it's important to on the days we don't see anything, that moments like this come up, and I'm like, man, they like hit me like a truck. And you know, even a few years ago, we took him to Vegas, and both my stepsons were there. My other stepson was 30 now. We're going up the escalator, and they both come up behind me and start kissing my bald head. They've had a few drinks, and they both said, "You know, you're our dad, right?" And I was like, "Yeah," you know, kind of caught me off guard, and just kind of like, you know, let it roll off a little bit, which I kind of regret. It just completely hit me off guard. But they just shared that you're our dad, and I was like, okay. And they said, there's some kind of, it must be a quote somewhere, but they said sober or drunk thoughts or sober something. So basically saying that in their state that some truth was coming out. And so I don't know, no question, but I kind of jumped on here in a spur of a moment. So just no question, but that's what I'm sharing. So appreciate all you guys and just keep going forward.
Yeah, right on.
That card, I'd frame that fucking card and put it so I could read it every day.
Have you done that? Or are you going to do that?
I just got it yesterday. I literally snapped a picture of it because I'm not a big fan of paper hanging around, but I already have a picture and it's going to be kept. So it's not going anywhere. And I didn't think to frame it, but that's a good idea.
Just something to like, yeah. That was an important thing. Let take that one. And back to birthdays, I probably didn't pay as much attention to it, but in my wife's family and my wife, birthdays are like way up at the top of things to celebrate. And I didn't realize how big a deal birthdays could be. We met and I turned 50 6 months later. And she threw a surprise party for me, somehow got my address book. There was over 100 people, had hula dancers, had Polynesian fire dancers, rented a studio. It was insane. I was like, no one had ever done anything like that for me before and had said, hey, this is your day. Like, enjoy this. Take time. It's okay to have a day. That's your day. So just the story you're telling yourself about enjoying or not enjoying, Dewey could probably pull on that thread a little bit and figure out why that's the case, but have permission to like enjoy it, celebrate it. Man, you made it this far, right? You're rocking. And you got a family that loves you, obviously loves you a lot. How old is the youngest one?
He's 15.
And how many are still at home?
Just one.
Just him. And then you're an empty nester.
Yeah.
Dewey?
Yeah, I just want to throw in a piece here. And I think what you're saying, Mark, about birthdays is great. Yeah, so please celebrate that. The other piece that I want to say is Mark alluded earlier to the fact that I have somewhere around 80,000 contact hours working with clients and teaching and et cetera, et cetera. Probably somewhere in the high 90% style or percentage, whether it's a man or woman that I'm seeing, or even a kid, is the idea of them having a solid, integrous, kind, loving, caring father is almost always an issue. And I would say only between 2 to 5% of the people that I see come in and go, my father was great. I look up to him, I respect him, I learn from him, I can count on him. As you were talking, what reminded me, I got an email from a kid named David saying, hey, I've been thinking about you, I've missed you. I used to see you as a therapist. And it was like, and I remember this person. And I wrote back and I said, I totally remember you. I forget how old you were when you started. And he said, well, I was 13, but I'm turning 50 soon. So however long that is, that's, what is that, 37 years ago? And he said, you cared. And actually on the 4th, where I've set up to, he's not in Colorado, he's he's in another state, but we've set up a Zoom thing. And basically, even in his emails, he goes, you were like a dad. And for you to be honored by your both sons, sounds like 2 sons and maybe 3. I don't know whether you have any daughters or not. But for you to be honored as a father is a really big fucking deal. Not just, I mean, so you holding that and being a father that your sons can both harass and kiss on your head and get notes from them and cards is a really big deal. So the idea of you having been born so that you can do that and be that for them is something to celebrate. So hold all of that, because if you weren't born, they wouldn't have a father.
I appreciate that, because I doing some ancestry work and learning about my family. It goes back generations and up to my father, of pretty absent dads, and my dad that he didn't know how to be a dad because of that. And so it's like I always reflect back that it's like, you know, it's my job to stop the cycle, if you will.
You bet.
And I was, for whatever reason, I ended up with 4 boys overall, and so it's pretty. Not that my daughter, you know, it's just different when I see myself more in my boys than I do, you know, my daughter in her journey. But for whatever reason, and I don't know, it's just, I hear you.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Men need men. Men need fathers. We need brothers. We need other men to be with.
Do we have,
Really big
that's such a perfect sentiment to end on. And I want to mention one thing to Brad, which is the job, one of your jobs is a dad. Like, that's a job, right? And I would like lean into that job for a little while, for that month, like all of us, like take that really, really, really serious. I grew up without a dad. So I, man, she's got you right there. 100% of your attention. That's just a gift. Hey, everybody, this is, I hope you enjoy this format for us. We decided we wanted to shake things up a bit. So the last Saturday of the month going forward, we'll do these lives, and we enjoy it. We enjoy being able to share this. Hope that you've enjoyed it as well. And just want to wish everybody a happy Sylvester. Other people call it Happy New Year's. I get it.
Happy New Year.
You could go ahead and do that, but happy Sylvester. Mr. Freeman, thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And Happy New Year.